From the street, it looks like any other old house, but it's much more than that. It was home to the 31st President of the United States. This is the boyhood home of Herbert Hoover, and it's in Newberg, Oregon. Hoover was from Iowa originally. His parents died when he was young.
All the siblings were moved from various relatives' houses, and then his uncle, who had also lost his little boy, unfortunately, to a wagon accident, and wanted Herbert to come live with them, called and connected with them and had Herbert come as a lone child across the country to, when he was 11, he moved here.
That was in 1885, and the uncle was Dr. John Minthorn. This is a quiet bit of presidential and Oregon history. The Newberg home is now the Hoover Minthorn House Museum.
Herbert Hoover is the only president to ever live in Oregon.
Yeah, and people don't know that.
People don't know that.
11-year-old Bert, as he was called, settled into his new family and his new state. His upstairs bedroom is still intact with his original bed and dresser.
He worked hard. He was a very busy boy. He went to school at the Pacific Friends Academy that was co-founded by his uncle, and his aunt was one of his teachers. And there was lots of studying and church services and religious observances to be done, and chores. So he didn't have a lot of free time, as a child might in that time, but he was able to go fishing, which he loved.
The Hoover Minthorn House Museum is open to the public, and you can see where the future President of the United States did his chores, milking cows, splitting wood, doing homework. Several years after arriving in Newberg, Hoover moved with the Minthorn family to Salem. Then he was off to college and eventually politics. As president, Hoover is often blamed, rightly or wrongly, for the Great Depression. Perhaps this is why the fact that he lived in Newberg is lesser known.
I think that's one of the reasons maybe why he's kind of lost to history. He's not mentioned much other than Hooverville and other pretty unfortunate connections to the Great Depression, which did occur during his presidency. I think we are a little bit more sophisticated now and understand that maybe predecessors of administrations could have some more responsibility to that. He went through some pretty stark, difficult times and just kept on working and making connections, and he benefited a lot from support from the community and his family. And so I think we all can relate to difficult times.
Newberg stayed close to Hoover's heart, and the people of the town felt the same. In the mid-50s, 81-year-old Hoover came back to Newberg to dedicate this house as a museum.
In 1955, on his 81st birthday, Herbert came to dedicate the museum and received the honor of having this house become his memorial house of his childhood.
Bob Gartner is protective of Hoover's legacy. Politics aside, the fact that an American president spent his boyhood in Oregon should be a big deal. And in Newberg, it is.
I think it's important that we are open and the public finds us.
The Hoover Minthorn House Museum has set hours of operation, but they also do private tours. There is a small admission fee, but it's totally worth it to find out more about the childhood home of the 31st American president, and it's right in our backyard. In Newberg, this is Dave Jones for Destination Oregon.